order. This time we'll all stand with this favorably flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Most here and gracious Heavenly call, Lord, this thank you, Lord, for no loss of community, Lord. As gather as a board, follow, Lord, to represent each and every one of our citizens. Follow, Lord, I just pray, Lord, that you just that each and every one of us be mindful of each other following our decisions. And follow, Lord, that you just guide us to make good sound decisions. And follow, Lord, that you continue to protect our great county, our great state, and our great nation. And follow, Lord, I pray, Lord, each and everything we say and do, that I believe in your holy name. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
This time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for October 7th, 2020.
Mayor Angela Robbinsville on too. She wants to call into the meeting.
Miss Bennett?
Hey.
Hey, Amber, I've got you on speakerphone and we have just opened up the meeting, so I'll be passing it to Council Member Johnson and he'll place it on the table.
Okay, I'm gonna go mute until I hear you guys need me.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the October 7th meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Mayor, may I ask that you also, the state is getting a bit, I would say, persnickety, that, because we had the public hearing, they asked that, or well, half these were funded, that we'll have to come back and get that done, but they asked that you also include, approval of the public hearing minutes.
It's on there. It's the next item.
Okay, so
Yep.
sorry, I didn't see that, I apologize.
Okay.
I apologize. They
Yeah, that's
just didn't-
fine, that's fine. Next is approval of the minutes for the sewer improvement grant public hearing. Also, for the 7th of October. That consists of Main Street, North Main Street area, Bar Street, Boca Road and northern end of 4th Street neighborhood. Components of the project include the native shared sewer, manholes and related apparatus.
Motion to approve the minutes of the public hearings.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to open up public comment.
Motion to go into public comment. Motion to close public comment. First thing on the agenda, old business, is our grant update. Sharon?
Thank you. So, we're down to the last 2.5 weeks, before we have submitted on the 23rd or before the 5 o'clock on the 23rd.
Mhm.
We hope to have them out the Friday before, so that everybody gets to have a nice Christmas,
Right.
Thanksgiving week. There's 2 additional, maybe 3 additional elements that we need, that are part of this grant application. One is a request for the board to pass the resolution to submit the application now that we've had the public hearing. And that resolution states that, 2 purposes for that is to state what the project is, which are sewer line improvements along the roads that the mayor just mentioned, and then authorize the mayor as the authorized signatory person for signing all of the grant application documents. And there's probably right about 10 of them.
Mhm.
And so that is the purpose of that resolution.
Also, don't we have to use one to adopt our water and sewer rates too also with that, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to do them one at a time or if we can do them as a group.
One at a time be better for signing, I think.
Okay, so the resolution is first.
Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the resolution
Governing body.
of governing body.
I second that.
Entertain a motion to adopt the 2020 and 2021 Robbinsville water and sewer rates as of today's date.
And nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed, no.
Just for my records, can you all elaborate on what the rates are?
Right now.
Just so I'm clear.
The water basic charge is $25.70 per month for the first 2,500 gallons. Anything, additional charge is $11.10 per 1,000 gallons greater than 2,500.
Okay.
Sewer is $24.40 per month for the first 2,500 gallons, and the sewer additional charge is $10.55 per 1,000 gallons greater than 2,500 gallons.
Okay. Thank you.
The town of Robbinsville
Oh,
current
thank you.
water and sewer monthly rate for residential customers outside the town limits are as follows. Basic charge is $36.35 per month for the first 2,500. Additional charge $11.85 per 1,000 gallons greater than 2,500 gallons. Sewer basic charge is $34.55 per month for the first 2,500 gallons. And sewer additional charge is $11.26 for 1,000 gallons greater than 2,500 gallons.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve the water and sewer rates for 20 and 21.
I'll second that. You want me to do that? Okay. So the last piece is, you had an asset management plan that you completed in September of 2015. To get you as many points as we possibly can in your current grant application, we needed to update the asset management plan to include all the new projects that you are working on, projects that you see in your future of what you want to accomplish, and bring those into your asset management plan. For us to score the 10 points that this could be, would provide us in this application, the asset management plan needed to have been approved within the past, this year or within the past 2 years. So by bringing it current now, it is good for another 2 years, including this year. So we brought up everything under water and sewer, and if you'd like, I can give you it's on page 13 of what are the new proposed list of water and sewer improvements. And unless you want me to read them, they're there for you to review. And just request the board to approve the asset management plan.
That's just adding our current project.
Got it.
Project and future.
Yeah, projects that you're currently know you need to do and those that you want to put into the future, and it gives, updates the cost of the project, which is another critical piece, is that you, from, what would that be, 5 years ago, to update the material, increase in material costs and bringing it to current cost estimates.
At this time, I make a motion to update the asset management plan for the town of Robbinsville, water and wastewater system.
I second.
Do you need anything else from me? Otherwise, I'm gonna take
Everything
back.
doing
Okay,
good.
I'm gonna finish up your application.
I appreciate you,
Okay.
Karen.
Oh, thank you.
And just send me a list of what you need.
Okay, I'll do it. Thanks. Have a great afternoon. See you all.
I think that's behind, off of Cody Street. I think it's
Taylor
out.
Street,
Yeah.
that's that road in between, in behind the front row of houses there, on,
Looking at
Echo
Cody Street
Street.
and
going out in behind Joe Walden's house and all that stuff. Miss Taylor used to teach school. She used to have with her property years ago.
I just don't have any mail on this. Never had.
Now, it's just a gravel alleyway, all it is,
Okay.
with sewer and drainage. Okay, town hall mold issue update. We have got everything up here on the main level, done, the mold issue taken care of. Got the new roof, the back room done, painted. We are slowly marking things off. Still need that awning over the basement stairs and our retaining wall. Diffusers put in the basement. We got them here, but they don't have to be. Some shelving built up before we could see that, before we can get them to drain out outside. And clean out the basement. And then O2 Wizard need to come back in and kill all the bacteria inside. And then tear out the old carpet at the town hall office and replace it.
did Sabernack ever get back to you with a quote for the owner?
No,
Okay.
no, I haven't. But I'll check with them and have that for you for, I guess, the next one.
And so the amount that Kelly's, was it Andrew Kelly that agreed for on the wall and stuff, did it turn out to be that, or was it more?
Well, he, in behind, I just want to show you all this. I was up here today that he started, and whenever he started fixing the wall and everything, he found something hid in behind that Shirley's desk in there that had been that had been, overlooked and covered up and everything. That stuff that had rolled up and wrinkled up and everything. This here's the block, and where this had leaked started to, it had deteriorated the block, and whenever they had done it at one time, they just busted out that deteriorated block and took a piece of 3/8 plywood
And stuff it over it.
up there and stuccoed over it, and it was right on, you look at the black mold that was in behind the, that, and he had to, lay 2.5 rows of block, mortar and everything, to fix that. That was an extra cost. It wasn't that much, was it, Sonia?
They charged an additional $200
$200 some dollars.
and that included a new faucet.
And all, so,
So it needed to be done.
Yeah,
that was,
so it's still
That's
working as
something
much
to hit
as all
where
the other
it's
ones
at.
was as well.
It's still under your other quote.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wondered about.
And we're gonna be working on getting the basement cleaned out and
and, also, while we're on that, whenever they tore the chimney down and everything, there was a electrical panel box connected there to the side of the chimney. And in behind the chimney, I guess it's more the water, that you had to rush the hole in the back of the electric disconnect. And we don't have to call an electrician in and replace that out there, because it could be a hazard.
an electrician or contact the AC people.
Well, either one would do, because all we have to do is
Yeah, we need
disconnect
to
the
get that
wires
fixed.
and
The box, the
Yeah.
it's rusted in, rusted.
The oil really
It's
disconnect.
oil.
Okay, now this old town hall lease.
Is everything in order?
Yeah, well, no. I have a couple emails, and before we talk to Amber, we just need to straighten out one of the requirements, and it's the same thing in the resolution that's in the lease, is that there be insurance listing the town as a lost payee.
Mhm.
So, you own the structure, so you'll carry insurance on the structure, that's part of your assets. But you want to carry liability and name the town as the lost payee. So she wanted to know how much to carry. And she asked the value of the building. Well, the tax value of the building is $36,340. But it's not really the value of the building because you own the structure. So you cover the structure, but you want liability in case there's a slip and fall or some other type of accident. And you want to be covered for that. So they're to get, as in the lease, they're to get the insurance. So how much casualty do you want was the question from her. And you may not be able to answer that today, and it's okay. You may need to consult with Sonia. You may want to consult with your own insurance carrier, because also in the email is that they're not ready to sign the lease immediately. They had a tree fall on their house and a few other things. So, but that was one question, was the liability to carry.
That's number 11, right?
10, 11,
10, 11, yeah.
12, I believe.
Yes. Okay. Then number 5, if you'll go, let me make sure, item 5. And part of the consideration on that building is that they maintain the grounds and provide all the maintenance and repairs to the structure. And that's what you're doing, that's sort of like you call it tit for tat, it's a consideration. Instead of getting a check in hand, they're gonna be doing all the maintenance, and repairs, except in structural repairs. And there lies an issue because in her email, she said that, we would be using a licensed contractor for those repairs and letting Jacob Nelms approve it. But if you all are gonna do structural repairs, there has to be a written agreement to do those. She can't just call in a licensed contractor and have Jacob, have the building inspector approve the process. So we'll have to clarify 5 that, and to me, I thought, well, we'll clarify it. On structural repairs, they have to be approved in writing by the tenant, by the landlord before the tenant can do it. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to clarify, and maybe
Sure.
have a long this conversation to that point, is I just wanted to make sure, because the way I read it, and I don't read a lot of legal documents, but it sounded to me like we weren't going to be able to do structural repairs. And I wasn't sure how to do that, because the very first thing that needs to be done to the building is structural. And without that structural repair, the building, at least for our purposes, is really not useful. Excuse all the noises, they're re-roofing our house right now.
Okay, what do you mean, what's the first thing you're wanting to do that's structural?
Well, in my first presentation before the board is that the seal of the building that holds up the foundation, the floor on the inside, is compromised by the leaked water and mold, and that entire seal will have to be replaced. So that is a very structural, integral part of the building. And so that's why we had the contractors come out and give us the estimate where they would have to jack up the floor, and they have to take that old seal out and put a new seal in, and then they would have to replace some of the joists underneath the floor, need to be completely replaced, and some of them will be cistered in some way, and they may actually put in an extra structural support in the basement. So because that is needed to be done, that was why I really wanted to make sure we understood number 5.
Okay, so you're wanting structural repairs made prior to opening your business.
Absolutely, and for the integrity of the building, those structural repairs need to be made. And it was our understanding that the town was not in a position to make those structural repairs. And the very first thing you guys remember that needed to be done was that outside wall needs to be sealed, where the two buildings were joined together, and they almost shared a foundation. The foundations were right next to each other. But when the building next door and that empty lot came down, the roof was covering the area where those two came together. But because that building is no longer there, that crack between the two foundations has been open to the weather. And all of the ivy that we went and took out, we took off the wall and got the ivy out of that crack, the ivy has just been seeping water and bringing water down in between those two. And the foundation of the building is actually poured ceiling. And on top of that, they have the cinder block on the outside wall. But on the inside of that cinder block, on top of the poured foundation,
All right, so number 5 will need to be clarified, and the town will have to decide or make a decision on those issues. Okay.
So that's why I said, like, and of course we totally understand about not doing anything that you guys haven't agreed to, that makes sense. But there were some jobs that we were talking about doing ourselves, but that would not be one of them. Anything like that, plumbing, electrical, we would use a contractor for. You would be in agreement and notified, and, you know, state the positions, the building inspector, the Robbinsville would be involved in the process. He brought taken up with us the first time that they opened the building and gave me the first tour.
Okay, well, that would be it for my questions.
And we just need to get clarification on
We'll need to go back,
and
we need to go back and talk about whether you have a line item for those repairs. Because in number 9, that's where I thought covered it, about any alterations, additions, or improvements. And it does. You would need the owner's written consent. So that's covered, but what she's raised is that there's structural repairs out the gate. So
And I'm
I
happy to have
we
the
need to make that-
contractor, get in touch with you guys or have a phone call and give you his assessment that he, you know, that he explained to me and we looked at together.
think if you would email it to me, where everyone in town or the town board gets it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right, and that may be it, because I think you all need to, I don't know that there's a line item for that, so you'd have to discuss that.
The house.
Yeah, so, okay, well, that's all my questions.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Amber?
Yeah, wait a second.
Oh, okay, okay, all right, we got it.
so we just need to leave this on the table for next
Yeah,
month.
I would take it.
Okay.
All right.
There still are the questions about the insurance. I understand about the liability, but there was the way that number 11 doesn't sound like liability to me, which is a loss or damage to the premises. That sounds like a different kind of insurance than the liability. The liability I understand, but it's number 11 that I wasn't clear on.
Yeah,
That's if it catches fire.
number 10 is the
Liability.
general liability. That's what you would have as a tenant.
Right.
But you need to name the town as the lost payee as well on that. Then you're looking at number 11, and that's something if the town deems that it'll pay, that it's in the town policy anyway, but this is to cover any intentional for the business you're operating. Liability is for someone coming in. Number 10 is someone coming in.
Right.
Okay, number 11 is for anything you all may do.
Right. So is that just a separate kind of liability then?
Well, and it is, but generally your insurance folks will quote that together.
Okay.
But number 10 is for whoever, that has nothing to do with the two of you. Number 11 does.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
When I showed it to my insurance person, he was confused about that one as well, because he was like, how are we going to insure the building if you don't own it? But I think I understand now that I can explain to him that, hey, this is, one is liability for customers or anybody else, and then one is like, what if something that we did damaged the building, so it's a different kind of liability.
Right. insurance carrier may put that in general liability, and if that happens, then it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We'll take a look at that.
And,
Okay.
the rest, the other question about sweat equity kind of question, we can address that, when we get further, I guess.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That may resolve itself. Okay,
At this time, I'm gonna
thank you.
table this until our next meeting, December the 2nd.
Next on the agenda will be, Mr. McGill and Bo.
Yeah, that's kind of wondering where we were at on the project.
On, go ahead, Steve.
Last meeting, it was brought up, we opened up the bid and all, and, with our finances, right now, the way the board voted was to table it and, to get up with you in reference to one meeting I think y'all had in,
Down
down
in the library.
at the
Back in
library.
February.
Yeah.
You stated that you would work with the town, try to help, out, and, cause the town's been shut down on this COVID, and not collecting bills, and the board voted that, so we wasn't even able to give our employees a raise in the last 2 years, and, they voted to put this on hold till we can get in contact with you, see if there's any way that you could work a cheaper way of doing this other than what you have bidded. And that was the decision of the board that passed.
Steve,
Yes,
it
ma'am.
went back to 2012 when this happened down there. And you could not have got a grant, do a thing you did, if we had not have agreed to let you cross that property. And we've had a mess since 2012, and that's long enough. Don't you think, Debbie?
Yes, ma'am, I do. 2012, I don't think me and Taco was
No,
in
you were not here. You weren't here.
That was-
Actually, if you'd have been here, I was thinking the way you do, it wouldn't have went this long.
No.
But
I guess, till we, since that meeting, we went through the dry months,
Right.
what weather we did have it was dry, or something could have been done,
Uh-huh.
been done. Now we're fixing to go into the worst time of year to do it, so it's gonna be wet all
Right.
day long.
Mhm.
It just seems like it just keeps getting pushed. Then there's other things too, that we've not even brought up. Guess what it boils down to, when they came through across our property, was the benefit of the property owners and not us. See what I'm saying? I mean, that's just the truth. A lot of money spent, and we had no problem with drainage. Till that was done, now we do. And it just keeps getting pushed back. And, I've got minutes from a meeting in 17 where we're supposed to get a 6-inch water line, a 4-inch sewer tap, a 3/4-inch water tap from Ford Street all the way through Robbinsville bypass. None of that's been done. Here's the meetings, it was voted on unanimously.
Was that with us?
no,
No.
That was back in
Yeah.
2017.
Mhm.
I guess what's kind of getting frustrating, everybody else was took care of. And it's just like our problems, don't matter. And we pay tax on it every year. You never have to send us more than one bill. And I did agree. I said, you come on and we get it fixed, down at that meeting, you know, we'd help. It just, like I say, just keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed.
It's not our place to spend a dime on it. We didn't make the problem.
Kinda be like if we just went down there and went to doing grading on our own and went to tearing up the water and sewer lines down there, we'd be responsible for fixing them, but we're not. You know what I'm saying? If we call and say, hey, we've got 15 water lines broke down here, come fix them. Cause we decide to dig a ditch, and we say, no, we'll fix them, you're gonna pay for them. And we're not trying to be rude, we're not trying to be, we just want it fixed. Like I say, it's went too long this year to fix it, so we're fixing to get into the latest part of the year.
I'm not sure
And I mean,
when,
we're not
Robbinsville's-
here because we've said, take our bid, if you got somebody else can do it. Cause there's a lot of stuff in there, there's a lot of stuff got to be done that I didn't put in that bid. That we were gonna just take care of ourselves. Because, and what happened when they put that catch box in down there, see, it changed the elevation, the reason we're having to go 300 feet. It changed the elevation of where that water's got to be caught, because it's higher now where it has to go into that catch
Where it
basin.
tied down, where he had town to.
Yeah, than where it used to go. See, that caused the whole problem. And you know, I was gonna take care of the grading, we're gonna have to regrade a lot of our property right there to bring the water back in. But, you know, we didn't figure anything for that.
What was you needing, Debbie?
I know that we've been in office for 3 years, and I don't think you came to us during the first 2 years. The first time you came to us was the first that we knowed about it, or me myself. Now Brian might know a little bit more about it, but
He came and made pictures.
yeah, I never knew the extent of it. And honestly, I don't understand all of it. But from 2012, when it was done, up until now, I don't understand why nothing was done for it.
Okay, when the
But-
other group was in, there's records. When I came so much, and if I talk much, my voice changes and I sound like a smart aleck, which I don't intend to be like that, but that's me, okay? Promise, promise, promise. Nothing. You see where that is? There used to be trailers all the way down both sides of that ditch, okay? And there was no water. And it was mowed with a lawnmower. Now the bull rushes us, the water's just standing. And it's really bad on like mosquitoes, everything.
It's bad for people that live out there.
It is. And they don't like it.
And where it started for you know, they put in all new sewer and Phillips Trailer Park,
No, yes, and
Sanderan and Chambers Trailer Park. All new sewer to every trailer there.
water.
And repaved Chambers Trailer Park, whole 9 yards. Spent a lot of money up there. Well, they had, and part of this project was to drain 4th Street. All this had to, these lines had to come across our property. And that's when things got done that has not been just put back to the way it was.
Well, it's not that I don't want to help. It's not that I don't think that something needs to be fixed. But it's like I said in that last meeting, I can't feel right about spending that much money on that when our employees haven't had a raise, which we had promised them, and And I know in that one meeting, you told us that you would help us. I know you even came to us and said, I will help them boys fix this for my parents.
You did.
And
But that wasn't talking about money, Davey, that's talking about physical labor on a machine that's not us paying for it.
That is an expense, that's money.
Yeah, I know it is, but still, it's not like, that's what this is saying,
well, I was just thinking that you were going to help. Your equipment, your knowledge, because evidently it's more knowledge about it than what
We're used to.
what our guys are used to, because they done what they thought they could do, and I know they done some stuff too, more than what, you know, because you guys said, can you do this and can you do this, and then they would do it, and then it still wouldn't be, so it's evidently more than what they can do.
Right.
But it's not that I don't wanna try to help get it fixed, I totally understand, and it's not that I know you pay your taxes and that you deserve that too. It's not that at all, and it's not just that, I mean, we've had to deal with the COVID taking effect on the budget. It's took its toll on everything. Can we fork that out? I don't know. I don't.
Like Bo said, you know, right now is really a bad time to be doing that type of project. When, I'd say early spring or mid-spring.
They do it really in July and August, right in the driest part of the year.
It's July and August, we have low.
Right.
A lot of
we did.
water.
I mean, we did, it was bad.
And wasn't
bad
there
year.
a time too when we tried to get together, but then you was off on one of your jobs, kind of busy, and not able to kind of meet up and talk about it?
With all that being said, could we not just, cause our budget comes due at July 1 for next budget year, could we not put that amount of money, I know it'll be changed a little, but, you know, but put some money in say a capital project and just get it done during the dry season at the beginning of the July, August timeframe.
Right. And look,
Cause right now, we just don't have the fundage really.
I wouldn't care a bit to do it and keep the cost on it. If it don't come out to that, whatever it costs to fix it, that's all in the budget. That's far as I know. You know,
Yeah, and still, I want to point out, 2012 was a different mayor
I
and
know
a
that,
different county.
I know that.
And there was a lot of stuff that didn't come from a table, it came from a handshake and a promise down there in the trailer park. And, you know, I mean, I spoke with you and Jimmy several times, Robbinsville, and all, and I do apologize. Our board went down there and tried to fix it, but they didn't have the know-how.
And equipment.
And equipment, and whenever you're dealing with 12 inches or 14 inches or 2 foot and 300 feet, you've got to be on your tiptoes of watching it.
That's right.
And I'm just, yes, it definitely needs to be fixed. This here needs to be handled ASAP. And my recommendations would be to the board to go ahead and agree with Bo here in reference that he's stating that come June, July, his bid would still be,
I'm sure it would fluctuate a little.
yeah, but I mean, you know, the rock and stuff, yeah. But they stuck their hand out for a handshake multiple times and haven't been stuck back.
and that's the truth. I mean, because the other projects help the property owners above us. And all we had done was above and it couldn't have been
We
done.
had it last month.
We done that through faith, that, you know,
Right.
we wouldn't be having a problem with our property. And I've got the, you know, like I say, I've got a copy of the minutes of the meetings where, you know, that water line and sewer tap and all was approved. It's just never been done. That was in October 4th, 2017.
General drainage update, it's not the
That was running it out beside the White House.
It's not
Right.
the way to do it. You have to
Well,
amend
what we're gonna do, we're gonna table it till next month, and then we'll have an agreement that we can sign with you or your parents, and then we will vote on it at our next meeting about, you'll go ahead and proceed with it, and then we pay you come July or August at our next budget, after our next budget year.
And that's the reason I say we need to do it when it's dry, because
Mm-hmm.
if we do it at the wrong time, it's gonna take more rock, it's gonna drive the cost
Exactly.
up. Like I say,
Longer time to
if
do
we
it.
can do it cheaper, we will. We're not, it's not a money making thing for me to do that.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Just we'll put it on the agenda,
Okay, okay,
but not a separate written agreement.
okay. We'll just put it on the agenda for next month as a new item, so we can vote on it.
Okay.
But it's still under the old, it's just supposed to be an update, so basically we'll put you on the agenda for next month. You can be here if you want to, because we
Okay.
spoke with you,
Right.
and, we can, vote on that agreement next month.
Are you saying you're gonna vote to do it?
We're gonna vote to let him do it, and we pay us back come July or August, is what I believe. Is that correct? Is that what I'm?
But now you're, okay, cause you're saying that it don't need to be done until June or July, but are you wanting to say
No.
they're wanting to start doing it now?
We don't wanna do it and
And it
it's
rained.
fixing to get real wet.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
I thought a few minutes ago you said you'd go ahead and do it
If
and
we
then wait
can,
until then.
if we think we're gonna have a couple of weeks of real good weather and it's dry enough where we can get compaction around it, we'll go ahead and do it, and you still pay us then. But I'm not gonna do it, like I say, I mean, if I can do it then, I can do it cheaper possibly than what we've got on there. If it costs more, I'm gonna pay that out of my pocket. See what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay.
I don't think we can go wrong there.
We'll,
That's far to know how to.
we'll
do
vote
it.
on the agreement next month,
Okay.
for sure.
Sounds good.
Because it'll be a new business item, and we'll be able to vote on it.
Yeah.
And again, we're sorry that this hasn't been
I
taken care
know
of.
you inherited it. I know
We
that.
inherited
I know that.
quite a bit of stuff.
At the same time, we still need to take care of it.
Yeah.
Because they, you know, I feel for them people out there when it's raining and they've got a pond and, you know, around their home.
And another thing too, the lady that was with McGill, that project that was staying on will be replacing that catch box thing there with this grant. Whenever, if we get it, it'll be connected now, setting another box. From what I understand, it'll be on West Bend side. That box there that's on yours will be connected to it, and it'll be a new box and a new drain heading out of the way, getting rid of it.
Now, is this box gonna stay in place?
As far as I understand it.
Well,
Well,
I'm glad you said that
Yeah,
because
this is-
we
this
need
is
to
a-
know that before we do anything, because
Right.
that
Yeah.
can change the elevations again.
yeah.
Mhm. From everything I understand, they can't fluctuate the elevation of the pipe. It's just gonna have to be a bigger box set on West Bend side there for the,
So this box is gonna come out, that's
no,
on our side.
apparently it's just on, where it disconnects, the new box will be set into the pipe exiting underneath the
Has
fence,
that got anything
from
to
what I
do with our
understand.
property this time?
You know where
That I
the
don't
catch
know,
box
but
is,
that's
it empties
one
out
thing.
down towards West Bend and all. It'll just be another bigger catch box there, where it takes in more, but,
Do they have set plans?
well, that's what she will have that now. As soon as I get them, I'll run you a copy back.
Okay, yeah.
If
'cause
those
I mean,
plans don't look right, let us know.
Yeah, I don't wanna do
Cause I don't wanna be
anything till I
dealing
see
with
it.
another McGill's mess up again.
Okay,
About-
this new thing, that has nothing to do with our property, correct?
Pardon me?
That has nothing to do with our property, we're not gonna try to run more lines across.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am. This here is from that manhole there on, in behind one, the trailer,
Okay,
where it stops up on count of that pipe, that pipe obstruction, it'll be replacing it from there, that away, off of your property.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do anything but see them plans.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Are you satisfied?
Yeah.
We're trying,
Yeah,
honest, we
hey,
are.
thank you.
We really
Thank you,
are.
Robbinsville.
It may not seem like it, but we really are trying.
It does. You know, it's a lot of
That's
things
kind
they
of
say that you don't know about.
cleaning up a mess, you got a big one.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Next on the agenda, the resolution to close town alleyway, I think that should read part of Morphew Street. Off of Morphew Street, right? The part of the
Partial
alleyway, not
closure.
whole alleyway.
It's a resolution of partial closure of the alleyway. We did get what the attorney asked is a full map attached to that, which we have. And it's gonna go from the back of Billy Joe Carver's furthest, if you're facing left hand of the property, straight across. And the back of Miss Danette's property. The whole length of her property and Billy Joe's in the back of the property. We're closing that because we don't have no access to it. We're just partially closing, like I said, from the back of Billy Joe Carver's property all the way to the back of Freeman Gas is building. If I said that correctly, I think that's right. Is there anything else that we need to do?
The entire survey is on display at Town Hall,
Right.
so you'll have, anyone that wants to come in and look at it. And then you'll reserve the right of way and easement for, town utilities. And then set a public hearing, whenever you close an alleyway, you have to have a public hearing for December 2nd at 1 p.m. or as soon thereafter. So I'll put that in the paper.
So we can adopt the resolution today?
Yeah, adopt the resolution and set the public hearing for
For
next.
next time.
Yeah.
That'd be for lots of 111, 112.
Yeah, 111, 112. And I don't have a lot number for the adjacent property. I don't know if it's on the,
It's not on the survey.
but, so we just need to be read in its entirety as a resolution?
You know, I'll put it in the, if you wanna go ahead and read it, but you can, for the property description, you can reference that
The
it
map.
has the attachment, and it's highlighted in yellow, that'll be closed.
So that's this part right here.
Right, right.
So you wanna read that in the record?
Which one?
The resolution to close the alleyway? Partially close,
The council members of the town of Robbinsville, North Carolina hereby adopt the following resolution. The town of Robbinsville pursuant to North Carolina General Statute, Section 160A, 299, declares its intent to permanently close the following unopened, unnamed alley to all vehicular traffic. Unopened and unnamed alley lying near the south margin of Carver, Book 261 on page 760 and lots 112 of town of Robbinsville, plat 1 on page 81. Said point of beginning of alley commences at the southeast corner of lot 112 bearing PT ERB bears north 28, 15, 15 west, 0.67 feet and 0.2 ERB, thence with a line of Carver South 42, 11, 14 West, 80 degrees feet to the existing angle iron in the southwest corner of Carver and the southeast corner of Cooper, book 317 at page 32, and bearing lot 111, town of Robbinsville. Plat book 1, page 81, this with the line of Cooper, book 317 at page 32, south 42, 11, 14, west 18.72 feet to an existing angle line in the southwest corner of Cooper, book 317 at page 32, Grand County Registry as shown on the plat of survey entitled Survey for Emma Jane Smith and Heather N. Curry, drawn by Terry R. James, PLS L 3998, dated July 15, 2015, which reference is hereby made for the more particular description of said alleyway. The town of Robbinsville reserves a non-exclusive mutual right-of-way and easement for the purposes of land pipe for water and sewer, as agreed upon in writing from time to time as to the location of said pipe. A portion of survey of valley is attached here too. The entire survey is on display at the town hall. Purpose closed alley is highlighted in yellow. Upon the closing of the alley, all rights, title, and interest in the alley shall vest in those persons owning lots or parcels of land adjacent to the alley for the width of the abutting land and 1/2 of said alley to the center line of said alley, except in the reserving the right of way of easement for town of Robbinsville as set forth herein and above. The public hearing of this session shall be held at 1 p.m. or as soon thereof, Wednesday, December 2nd, 2020, at the town hall. Any person wishing to be heard on the question of whether the closing of the unopened or unnamed alley to all vehicular traffic will be detrimental to the public interest and property rights of the individual shall be presented at this time. Adopted and passed by and vote town of Robbinsville and all. And I'd like to go on board stating too, the word Hooper, the name Hooper, has got nothing to do with my name, except it's the same as, for ethnic purposes. So I will be standing off on
At this time, I'll adopt the resolution, make a motion to adopt the resolution to close the alleyway, partially close the alleyway.
I'll second that.
And the public hearing will be next month at 1 o'clock here at the town hall.
And one thing I'll get with Sonia or Sherry, when you close an alley, all the abutting landowners, you gotta send them a notice, return receipt requested.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to hurry and get that out, because they have to have notice immediately.
Okay.
And they will also inherit the taxes on that said property also,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Moving along, number 6, no business. West Fort Hill Drive additional improvements update. Have you heard anything else from?
No, that's, right now, that needs to
That
be,
needs
it's
to
off the table, we'll bring it back up.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to remove that.
Remove it.
I'll second that.
Alright, Sidewalk Project.
I know last month about the sidewalk, we let it go another month and we still haven't got any more bids on it. The bid we got is $7,849. That's the sidewalk on 4th Street. And I checked with Sonia, and we have all but, is it 2,000 in our budget for that, for street maintenance, or
Well,
upgrades.
with them doing the new work and stuff on that street, do you think we should wait on this
Well,
until we figure out
I
what's
think
going
the
on?
sidewalk needs to be tied into that drain down at the foot of Morphew Street here. If you know
No,
what you're
we're
doing
gonna
on that,
pass
or
that.
you talking about this down
Down
here?
Yeah.
Down here?
Yeah.
We probably need to go ahead and do that first, don't we? The other, before we do the sidewalk, don't we?
Well, we already passed, he just gotta get a start date. But, you know, I checked to see we had the funds, we have all but 2,000 in our streets and maintenance. I'd like to see it completed, because I know a lot of people do walk down through
yeah.
there.
And so when is he wanting to get started on it then?
I don't know, he hasn't given me a start date from last month when he got the other bid. For the drainage on Morphew Street.
So is there a chance or anything that this sidewalk is gonna be, anything's gonna have to be dug up?
Well, the only thing would be this, you'd have to remove 5.5, 6 foot
May not even have
of
to
the
move it at all.
dirt, just to do that, and or, yeah, you'd want it underground, you'd want it down below your pavement. That you're not talking 2 or 3 inches of excavating to get it ready for folk. I mean,
It's 4 inches wide and a 6-inch curve.
shouldn't be.
And he said there's a drain up there near that, actually there's 2 drains, one on the Collins Trailer Park side and on the, in front of, near the hydrant. And he's gonna taper it off around it, so it all drains into that drain, that's existing drain, both drains.
And so this new work that we're gonna be doing on this street, it's not gonna
It
affect
don't
the
go that
sidewalk
far,
if
does
we
it?
put this sidewalk in?
No,
It don't get
no,
closer at all.
no.
That's what I was,
No.
okay.
So with that being said, and we waited, you know, it's nearly 3 months, we've got one bid.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to approve it. And approve the budget amendment number 5, that'll pull the rest of the 2,000 that we were short from our roads, or streets and roads and pavement, or sidewalks, I think called.
You don't understand, I second that.
You second both?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sure this one can
Alright, number 8, NC 811 membership agreement there, it's up and running, isn't it?
No. There was some wordage,
Worded,
and they didn't change it, but they put an addendum, is that correct, on that, utility line notification thing, or that utility connect, or locate, that's what it is, locate utilities. Yeah, I'm struggling.
And the only thing that they added, if I understand, was just an attachment that explained what it's an attachment B, that explains what the fees are gonna be. Attachment A.
Yeah,
okay,
and, attachment A and attachment B. Then, they provided your agreement also says that, it'll be construed by the bylaws and articles of incorporation that are in effect at the time you sign, and they provided those.
Okay.
So, because, 10 years from now, if you got any questions, you really need to.
So we're good to go to approve
Right.
this and being compliant with the state.
Right.
Okay, I'll make a motion that, we, approve the membership agreement and have the mayor sign the appropriate paperwork to get that in order.
I second that.
online payment,
I just needed to update you. Last month, we talked about, we were going to be able to update our online payment so that we could integrate it with our Southern software. When I talked to them originally, they had given me the quote that I brought to you last month, but unfortunately, they said with the amount of people that have paid so far, they'd have to take the last 3 months that's paid and divide it and get an average. Well, our first month that we did this, we did not have too many. It was slow going on with good payments. It's growing, it's wonderful. They suggest that we wait until next year at this time to talk about trying to get the cost down, because what we had talked about was gonna be $100 extra a month, but instead, it's gonna be like $350 extra a month. And I said, no, that's not what we talked about at all. And they said, well, that was, original quote they gave us was more of if you get more people to pay in the month, so we need to go
we're
to a
not gonna be
12-month
100%.
period and an average, and we just need more people to pay with a longer time period.
I agree,
So
we'll give it a year and see.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are utilizing it.
they really like it. They like it. We just want to tell the board, I just want to tell the board, we're holding off on that. We're just going to keep the basic online payment, not the integrated, where it goes with our Southern software, where people could actually set up automatic payment. Everybody wants automatic payment, but it's just too much cost-wise for us right now. $350 is just too much. That's $4,200 a year. That's just, so. I was just bringing
We'll
it
give
back
it a
to
year
you.
and then we'll revisit it.
Yeah, next year, yes, and again.
Any further old business? If not, we'll go into new business. Mayor update on sanitary survey. The 29th of September, we had an inspection from the Cole Harrison Environmental Specialist No. 2 at Asheville Regional Public Water Supply Section. She visited our water plant from Long Creek, and I met with Terry Stewart, ORC, to conduct a sanitary survey and inspection of your water system serving the town of Robbinsville. At the time of the survey, note 1, I found the plant to be in good condition, very organized, clean, and all compliance monitoring data was up to date and in good order. Congratulations to you and your water treatment plant for receiving the AWAP award for yet another year. That's kudos to it. I was pleased to see that backup finish pump has been ordered and will be arrived sometime around December 1st. I was also pleased to see that Geologic Saint is under contract and for repair, clean, and paint. Number 2, when recommended placing an online settlement turbidity meter for all settled data, this would also need to be linked to the SCADA, which, since the data is important to be used when evaluating your system for AWAP award. That's one thing we need to add to. Alright, number 3 is you still need to designate a cross connection, ORC. This here, we've been talking about this for right now a little over a year. It is state mandated that we're gonna have to have this. And not only one, you go minimum of 2, preferably 3. You own 5 or more cross connections at this time. It is a state requirement that you have the CCORC, who is responsible for making sure all CC devices are operational. As you know, the average daily minimum demand on the Rock Creek plant is around 0.4 million gallons a day. This is about 80% of the plant's capacity, which is 0.5. Continue with your efforts to develop a new water source and or increasing the capacity of the Rock Creek plant. According to the WSP, you only show 15% unaccounted of water. Please check with their distribution ORC for accuracy. We appreciate all that you and your water system staff do to provide safe drinking water to the town of Robbinsville. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me at 828-296-4580 or email Nicole at harrison@ncdaner.gov.
That's good. I'm glad we received that award again. But this placing the online settled turbidity meter, what's the cost? Could you get care to get us a cost on what that would to do that?
And normally she goes through what's his name up there in Marion.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
because he does all that stuff, and he also calibrates them all and everything.
And I had a meeting, as far as the cross connection, I had a meeting with Rural Water. They came, and they said right now there's no classes to get people for that. So that he was going to let us know as soon as there was classes available, so we get somebody to be on the cross.
And that's one thing that Nicole said, is they're having trouble about getting numbers together enough to initiate having a class, because there's just one or two here or there. And also, note there too, which says a CC and an ORC, you also have to have, whenever I said the third person, you really have to have the other person, the third person, really to go out and make sure everything's working properly, other than your CC or your ORC. If I'm, would I be saying that right?
Well, CC is standing for your cross connection. Your ORC, your ORC is your operator responsible in charge, and then they require you to have a backup,
and then you got to have somebody that make
an
sure
operator.
everything's working. That's your third, right?
Yeah. A lot of times the state won't push that third position, but they do require the ORC and backup forward.
Right.
Well, and like I said, I spoke with them, and they're supposed to let us know as soon as there's a class available. Right now, there was one back in the spring, I believe, and they canceled it because of the COVID, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we are.
It's
we're aware
usually a
of-
week-long class, and they've been having them in Asheville. But with COVID, they can't get into the operating. They call it a wet lab because they got to go in and practice tests on all this stuff.
So do any of ours, if they have to take this class, they get certified or something, right? So are any of ours up to losing their certification if they don't get the
Well,
class?
see, we don't have that. That's something that the state of North Carolina has come to, you will have this. It's something added to, other than what we've already got conditioned.
Oh,
So this year's a whole different puppy by itself. I mean,
Now, I guess with them saying that, you already have 5 or more testable backflow blockage in your system.
yeah, the 2 pharmacies, funeral home, and I guarantee you, we went over here to the school,
Mm-hmm.
for every month thing, cause there's a water hose down in that, drain, there's one. Also, whenever that's another thing too, I'm just wondering, while we're on this, you reckon we need to go disconnect out here at Stanley where they had that, salt tank out there, and they had water to that? I know there's an air gap in between it, but the hose is still connected to the supply line there that could be thrown into that right there. I'm just wondering, what does that?
They had no water service out there either, so. I don't think.
It's been disconnected.
Yeah, but, okay. That's all I have on update, other than, we are doing, some of the property owners on Main Street are doing some cleaning, spreading some paint, pressure washing and all, and, it's looking good on Main Street. I do know that our boys have been, on these fallen leaves piling up and everything, We did have one update, this past weekend before last. Yeah. We thought a fuel getting into the creek, there was some type of a machine got into the creek. Thinking it's down below the intake, at the water plant. But, Dana was notified also, Mr. Henry was notified, there was a boom placed and everything, we monitored it, matter of fact, we even, monitored the gas stations for 3 days, to make sure that we didn't have a tank, underground tank leaking, and, everything we was up to date on that. Happened on October the 24th, I think. Yeah, 24th, 25th, 26th, we kinda camped out with that, for 3 days, and we periodically went back, we went back and checked, and we still can't find where it was, but it did get into the storm drain system, and it emptied into the slough. Other than that, everything is back to normal and all, and that's all I've got. Next is financial update.
A year ago, with the suggestion of our auditors, the board had, this was one of the suggestions, is that since we don't have a lot of segregation of duties or internal control in the office, we'd had a board member who would come in once a month and sign off on the bank recs. And that board member has not been doing that, so I just want to remind the board that I'd need someone else to come and sign off on those bank recs. Once a month would be ideal, once a quarter would be good. As the auditor would say, we'd either need our board to randomly be signing checks or look over our bank statements, just to have one more eye on what the finance director is doing. Okay, so I've got your budget versus actual in your packet. COVID has hurt us. I believe that we're seeing a decline, and I believe it's from COVID, but it's not tragic. And for our general fund, our revenue, we brought in $158,000 and we spent $194,000. So we've spent $35,000 more than what we brought in. But here at the first of the year, we did have to pay our auditor $29,000, and we went ahead and paid our property insurance. Instead of paying it through the year, we paid one check at the first of our year at $8,000. We're in our 4th month, so we're around 34% of where we should be at our own budget. I think, as you'll see in the second page, that's the general fund income. You'll see that there is a decrease. You can see our sales tax disbursements in 2019, and then compared to 2020, that's what the state gives us each month. That's $2,000 less than 2019. Then your utilities have dropped $3,600. Our county tax collection has dropped $7,900. Our interest income has dropped into almost nothing at $2,026. That's a total of $15,600 less income that we received. So we do know that with our general fund, I do believe COVID is affecting us a little bit. People probably spending less money and people paying less bills with their taxes. So hopefully by the first year when it's due, but before the deadline, we'll get to see more in those taxes. And now our water and sewer fund, now we can collect, we're no longer, as of July 30th, we could start shutting water off. So now we're seeing water and payments being paid, which is wonderful, because we have a positive amount for water and sewer fund of $91,835. I'm very happy right now with how things stand with water in the system. It's not quite as affected by COVID, because if we shut the water off, then they end up being able to pay. Just the last sheet there is your county tax, and As y'all may remember, the county, we signed an agreement, a resolution with the county of January 8, 2020, that our board would no longer approve the releases and discoveries. Instead, the county is doing that since they're taking care of our collections and our billing. And I just wanted to give you a summary of what has happened. And so this tells you since November of 2019, what has been released and discovered. And there's been a difference of $823, so not anything significant. I just wanted to bring that to you. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Okay, personnel policy work session schedule.
I found that document we spoke about, and I think Sonia was gonna, instead of us having work sessions on it, I come up with the idea, and I may not be a real good one, but to actually form a committee, have a couple of department heads and maybe one from council sit on it, and go through it from page to page. Because it would do good to have some of the employees sit on it, because the personnel, I mean, of course, the board would have the say-so to approve it or not, but I would like to have a committee set up. If not, then we'll have to have a work session, quite a few of them, to get all that straightened out just for that. But that was my suggestion as far as the personnel policy, do a committee to spearhead that with some of our employees and maybe one councilman. That was my suggestion, I
We
guess.
still have to get together and sit down and.
Oh, yeah.
Or you want to talk to them first and see if they even want to be on the committee, or you want to just go ahead?
I think we need to have the department heads. I don't think they need really a choice. They need to be a part of it, I believe. We only have 3. It ain't like we got a whole bunch of them. And then one of the council sat on it, and that way they have some guidance. And I think Sonia, she got it on email. It's a preliminary, it's a draft, that you can change it or whatever. And then once that committee gets done doing all their changes, then of course it'll be completely read by the board, and then we can make changes or approve it as read, if I think that's correct. But I would say the department heads and one council would make the committee, or the mayor.
That's good.
So, I mean, that way we can get it knocked out, or we can hire a firm to come in and do it.
Who you want on that board?
I would say your department heads, Lamar, Terry, Chad, and either a councilman or the mayor. And Sonia has the draft, but it's gonna have to go through page by page, section by section. It's gonna be a tedious job.
I don't care about the
Send me a
stamp.
draft too, Sonia.
Yes.
If you send me a draft.
And that'd be working with that draft also.
Yeah.
With what we've got existing.
Well, yeah, you can use it as reference and put that into the new draft, into the draft document. But I'm sure a lot of that's probably already touched in this draft, because it's been a while since I've read it. But I think that would be the easiest.
Okay.
Next.
Alright, COVID employee time off guidelines.
I just wanted to explain this to the board, bring this to your attention, that we only have 15 employees, and so we don't qualify for FMLA, which requires that you have 50 employees at least. But we do qualify for this new emergency FMLA Act called Families First. And what it means is if someone's out with COVID for 2 weeks sick or just having to be quarantined, the town is responsible for pay 2 weeks of their time. so it doesn't take out of their comp or their sick, we just pay 80 hours. And the same, there's also a part of this says that if someone has to be out because of child care, any issue having to do with COVID, as long as they can provide a health department, a doctor, or a child care provider letter, then what we are doing is going ahead and paying them for that 2 weeks. And I have requested from the county with our CARES Act to get that money back. So right now I've requested $4,800. That would have been when Sherry was out and Karen filled in. I requested for both of that and the other employees who were out. So hopefully we'll get that money back, even though it's costing us money. But
Well,
just
will we have to replace what time they use of their own?
I did. If everybody.
I believe she's already made the corrections on all
Yes.
their time.
If anybody used sick or coma, I gave it back to them. If they were able to provide me with a letter from the health department, doctor, or child care saying that's COVID related. Because my hope is to try to get that money
And
back.
there's not but one that you didn't get a letter from, right?
I don't have a letter from
Right.
one yet. And I've submitted that request, but I want to keep submitting my request every month, we get reimbursed for COVID supplies like masks and all kind of cleaning supplies that we wouldn't normally have. So I submit her once a month. And so next month, if the funds are still available, I'll submit more. So I just submitted what I have so far.
Okay, number 5, septic receiving station pump replacement for $3,987, budget amendment number 4.
I know a little bit about this. I spoke with Chad prior to the meeting, and the reason why the county was having trouble with that pump that was down in that new septic receiver was too small. It wasn't rated for commercial. So we expected the pump to be a little bit more expensive, but we got one that is failing and one that is out. Is that right?
Right.
So this year, well, we need to go ahead and purchase this replacement pump for that set. And this one is big enough to carry the load until we can get funds to replace the second one. That way, and then we shouldn't have no other issue out there. That problem was there was too small a pump. When it was engineered with too small of a pump to carry the load. Mm-hmm.
That's why they burning them out
Burn them up.
for 3 months.
So this will hopefully eliminate that.
Yeah, this pump here is made for exactly what that's happening out there. It takes care of your plastics and your screens and
And
whatever.
Chad said this should fix our problem, and he said maybe in the budget, said he'll put more money in that to replace the next one after the next budget.
I'll entertain a motion to go ahead and purchase this.
I'll make a motion.
That's the purchase. Now let's do the budget amendment.
Alright. Entertain a motion to adopt this,
I thought that's what we did.
amendment forward.
Okay. We made a motion to purchase it, now we're doing the budget amendment.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to, on the budget amendment for that pump.
Okay. Next is the proposed employee rate increase.
We talked about this, and I spoke with Sonia, and she thinks we will be okay with the, and I hate the word bonus, it don't sound good, but it's, basically this is gonna be for our employees. They worked through all the COVID, they didn't get no days off or nothing, that's all of our staff. They didn't have no days off whatsoever, and we have it in the budget, and I would like to see them get a little something for all their hard work they did through the COVID. And I mean, we're still dealing with it, but it's just appreciating them for what they did, because they handle everybody's garbage, no matter whether they're sick or they don't know whether they're sick or not. But I think that we need to, at this time, I would, do the what's highlighted in green, which is the bonuses. And like I said, I hate that word. But it's basically appreciate our employees for the hard work they did through the initial start of the coronavirus until present.
Is that what the amount of it was when we had our budget meeting and we agreed to it? Is that where we agreed, or is this a different amount that we're giving them?
This right here is for, I think it's $550 per employee.
Yes.
That's just the bonuses. The raises that we put in, I would like to revisit that come January, February to see how our collections is from the county, because that's when they're actually due is in January. And then we revisit the possible 3% raise in February.
So when we had our budget meeting and we looked at what we were gonna give them, this is a different amount than what that was that we, looked at giving them?
What we put
Is
in
this
the
a
budget
different-
Is the last column, 5% raise with a $550 bonus, that's what we put in the budget.
They were together during the thing, and I was wanting to break them up so we could give them something now, and then hopefully if the funds are there in February, we give them the raise.
So in other words, it's like 8 and like 24,000. Plus or minus, right?
What's that?
It was like, if you utilized 5%, it was like around 24,000.
If we
For
give
an
them-
increase
if
at
we give
5% and like 8,800 for, the bonus that you got.
If we gave our employees 5% raise and a $550 bonus, it would cost the town $36,431. If we gave them a 3% raise and a $550 bonus, it would cost the town $25,770. If we just give them the $550 hazard COVID pay that he suggested, it will cost $8,878.
But that's not doing away with the raise, just waiting for more funds to get in our coffer so we'll look at it then in February. We're not saying they're not getting one, we're saying we need to wait a couple more months. But as far as the bonus, I hate that one.
Really hazard COVID pay.
Yeah,
Well, it may be hazard COVID pay this year, but every year
Yeah.
we gave them, a thank you.
yeah. So right now, that's what I suggest is to go ahead with the bonus, hazard COVID, however you want to word it, for the employees.
What you're gonna do.
I wanted to make a motion that we give them their 3% bonus and their COVID pay. We haven't gave these employees
2 years.
anything since we've been here.
Like I said, I'm all for it, but I'd like to see more money in our account. And we'll know more once, it's because the taxes are due on the 5th of January. But right now, we have the funds for the bonus hazard COVID pay, or whatever you want to call it. We do have that funds now.
So, okay, so now we're tabling the 13,000 for the Collinses until next month, that we're gonna see to pay them
In our next budget, yes.
in our next budget. But then
How much would 25,770 hit us right now? Would it?
3%,
But I mean, do we have that to operate on from now to June?
If we want to refer back to your finance update, right now, we have brought in more money in the water department at $91,835, but we have spent $35,000 more.
Now, again,
Out of jail.
But you can also, a good point is that we did the roof, that really came out of the savings account, you know, but it looks like we spent it out of, and that was $27,000. Plus we did the stucco to take care of the mold issue, which was an emergency situation, which was $3,600. So you could almost say, if things continue like it is, we may be okay. If this was not a national pandemic that was completely out of our hands, I'd say that we should have done it 3 years ago. But we are in it, so I'd rather refrain from, because I don't know what will happen. I don't know if everybody will pay their taxes.
so right now, Tonko got a recommendation of doing the bonus only right now until February, right?
Then we revisit our.
And then revisit. Alright, then we got Debbie. Correct me if I'm wrong. You had in mind to going ahead and doing 3% raise plus the 550.
Well, I mean, I thought that when we done our budget, we looked at the 3% and then the bonus or hazard pay. It was less than that 550, it was like 500,
Yeah,
which is
because
different, but.
She said though, you kinda figured in the budget, the 5%, right? Yeah, you put that number in.
That's right. The 36,000 is in the budget. Whether we have enough money to write the check is the question. I mean, we have the funds available. I mean, funds brought in this budget year. We would never want to take money out of our savings account to
Right.
pay for.
But the 36,463 is not gonna come out at one time. That's gonna be
That's right.
It's over a
weekly,
year.
over a year.
And we'll start half year. Cause it was,
Yeah.
It's half of it. But almost, I mean, it's, you could almost subtract out 4% because we, 34%, because we're already at 34% of the budget. Or we paid them without their raises.
So,
This money is in the budget, we just need to vote to actually give them whatever you guys choose to give them, we need to vote.
I'm gonna-
no, there's no second. So both of them die.
Just said it both gonna die, that means you're not gonna do either.
that's what it-
Is that, yeah.
because
So
that-
if it, if
see,
we
that
don't
was-
wanna give, I mean, if it's not gonna
That-
be the 3% and I mean, if that's not gonna be.
It may be close on
3%,
February.
I know that,
Yeah.
I know that. I'm not gonna keep everybody from getting their, at least getting their bonus. I will second that.
And we'll be sure to note that we are gonna revisit the 3% raise across the board in February.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, because,
Cause
so,
I'm gonna tell
you
you
know,
something, I am not.
in previous meetings,
I'm not
it was taken away from me that I could have stepped in without a second.
You're what now?
Let me hear it brought up you a year or so ago, or I couldn't second my power of seconding something if they went a majority and all, and that's why I couldn't step in second or whatever. That power was taken away from me at that time. That's where okay, moving right along. Record retention and disposition. The schedule.
we've got old records. We've got old records in the old town hall basement, in this basement, and in our storage room. And so I was checking with North Carolina State Archive and see if it was okay for us to go ahead and go by the general statute records retention. And they said that since the town has not approved a retention schedule since, I think 1983, I've got it written, but it's a long time. We need to approve a new one. So what this means is, they give us guidelines of what we can get rid of when. For example, minutes and agenda, we have to keep forever. Accounts payable, we can keep in office for 3 years, but anything back after 3 years, we can shred, burn, put in acid, dispose of. And so what we need the board to do is to approve this general records retention and disposition schedule. And what it means is that we will follow the guidelines. The board is approving for us to go ahead and destroy anything that is old. That is, we have a guidelines that they'll let us go by. And so we don't have to report to them what we're getting rid of, but we have to keep a record of what we're getting rid of. And that's what we will do. So first thing I wanted to do is to see if we can adopt this record retention and disposing schedule. This is 2019 local government.
In March 2019, if you'll adopt the March 2019 retention and disposition schedule, that's what you need to do. It's March 2019 is the brand new schedule
Yes.
for retention and disposition. So, and it's very specific. It's 400, it's probably 400 pages, but it's very specific. So, okay. So that's what you're gonna approve in March 2019.
I'll entertain a motion to adopt the March 2019, general record retention and disposition schedule.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Now what I would like to ask is that I got a quote from Shreddit. And of course, see, I have about, and I don't know what all is in the old town hall, and I don't know all the records downstairs, but I went and looked, and I would say I have at least 50 boxes down there that would qualify to be shredded. So I got a quote from Shreddit, and this is nothing we have to do right away. We're just trying to get started on cleaning up some. But Shreddit said that for 50 boxes, it would cost $450. And what they do is they come and they give me a record of what they're getting rid of, and they actually shred it. Because you can't just put boxes in the dump because people could get a hold of the records. So it has to be disposed correctly. And anything over is $9 a box, a bank box. And so what I wanted to say to the board is, this is something we could do later, but I wanted to let y'all know that now that we just adopted this, I can start shredding things myself. But it's gonna take a great deal of time to shred 50, 60 boxes of old records. So I'll let the board decide if that's something we wanna put off. You know, I mean, we need to clean out that old town hall, but I think, she has said, meaning the lady that wants to do the lease, that she doesn't wanna sign anything till January. So pretty much because of her problems, correct, Ms. Davis? I think so. This is something, I thought we had to get on it right away because we need to clean up that old town hall. But since she's not even wanting to sign this lease or get, this, we're going to put this off for a few months. So maybe what I'll do is bring this shredded back to y'all in January or something.
I will say this too, First Citizens Bank, they have a shredded truck come.
I know.
I don't know if they're having it come this year, but they allow businesses to bring their stuff down there to shred.
Okay, that sounds
Yeah,
good.
That's
they
when the
was
post office
there.
takes
I
it.
think they've already came.
They already came.
Yeah, I think it was like at the end of
They-
October. I think it was like a week or two ago.
And the
Yeah.
United Community will only, and state employee will only allow just
individuals, but First Citizens Bank will
Oh,
have
okay.
businesses.
That's something different then.
Let their stuff go and be shredded.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need
It's
to.
the only one that will allow businesses. So I don't know if they are gonna be doing it this year, but if they do, that'll be an option too.
Yes, I will find that out. Yes.
The shredded is, I've used it, in 35 years of records, and they take it out in your presence, and they have this big massive machine in their truck, so I mean, it is very private.
It is.
And they dump each individual separate too.
And next on the agenda is, Elder Branch survey. Also Small Creek Corner. We'd already been approved to do that survey from the upper part of the Elder Branch
The
corner down. Got in contact with Terry James. He was the original one that surveyed that. And he has the azimuth of everything on record. But he'll still have to run a line. And he's gonna be getting me because the leaves is off the trees now where you can, and it won't cost as much having to foot walk every bit of it. Also, the corner that was we can't find the corner that was dug out whenever the spillway up there, where the corner, the left-hand corner facing the reservoir is, and he has done that, and he's got that on that. And he just wants to know if we want to go ahead and stay with that.
Definitely the Elder Branch.
Elder Branch did.
We was having some tax question issues.
Yes.
We didn't want to proceed until
Yeah,
we got
I
the
told
lines
him,
surveyed.
I told him we'd need to know where and what is in and out and all. But, he's supposed to have a crew here tomorrow being able to do it if it's available.
I mean, we did talk about that. We were supposed to be getting a quote for a survey back a while back for that area, for that corner anyway. Can he get us a quote?
Yes, I was looking, that's what I got on here and looked to see if he'd seen it yet, but he hadn't yet. But, I can get that and circulate that through to y'all and all.
And we'll bring it up at the December meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Or if we really need to, we can have a special meeting, but
Okay.
that's fine. December's fine with me.
Mayor, excuse me, may we go back to number 2 a minute, when Sonia was doing her financial
Finance update.
update? I just noticed on on the release of taxes,
Yes, ma'am.
on December 17th, 2019, it's released because she was deceased. Is that right, Sonia?
And what the county has told me, that when someone passes away, they go to all, they exhaust all of their efforts to see who is gonna be taken, who is gonna own that.
Well, I guess when any of us kick up daisies around this table, somebody's gonna pay our property tax because that's the law, even though you're deceased. At the moment you die, real property vests at the moment of death, that's the law. So it vests at the
So if we
moment
don't
of
have
death.
nobody that
So
takes the
it
property,
vet-
does it go back to the county?
Well, no, the county would have to do a tax foreclosure. Or no, we would, it's county, it's town
No, we
property.
would.
We would. But it vests at the moment of death, so the heirs, and I mean, that's,
Unless the county took over.
yeah, because you really don't release because someone's deceased.
They release
do
it
a
from her,
tax
but it
for-
goes to the,
You do a tax foreclosure.
would they release it from her name though, and then it would be actually added to whoever took the property?
No, when it's released, it's gone, it's gone.
Well, it doesn't look like anybody was discovered, you know, right, they were attached to it.
Well, then the tax bill continued. I mean, it's just standard, you know, you find,
But if that's the property I'm thinking of, somebody else owns it.
yeah, you don't release it for being deceased. It continues to accumulate. At some point, you decide to do an interim tax foreclosure. Because there are heirs. It may be the fifth cousin, but there are heirs, and someone's living there, someone inherited. Someone owns a tax bill, a water bill, a sewer bill. And so, I just hate to see y'all release taxes for deceased. I can see errors, that type of thing, clerical errors. But anyway,
I'll find out. I'll bring you back for the next one.
okay.
I've got one thing else to bring up, probably need to. Did we was there a date set for like having a work session or something? Or is that just,
With John, or with what? What was the
well,
issue?
he had came in and wanted to know if he was wanting to request that Rev Up in the town discuss having a planning retreat thing in reference to the, like a 5 or 10 year.
He
plan.
mentioned a work session back before this COVID thing started, and once it started, then, you know, we have it followed
Right.
up with that work session.
Right. And he was, what he's wanting, he was just wanting to know if he could be added to our next work session, if we have one, in order to get a group set up to do a 10 or you know, 20-year plan, you know, economic growth plan, a town of Robbinsville growth plan, and all. But that's what he's wanting. What if and when we do have a work session, we sit down. Is there any other further business to come before this board at this time? Does anybody have anything to go into closed session to discuss with Attorney Pam?
I just got a quick question, and it may take a few minutes to find it, but just out of curiosity, that $9,000 that we talked about in our budget meeting for Karen coming and helping you, or Sherry when everyone was out, how much of that have we spent?
Well, we won't count, if you don't want to count the,
Because we agreed at $9,000 for that, right?
Right, so we have probably spent about, and I'm just guessing, we won't take the 2 weeks that she's out for COVID since we hope to get that money back. I would have to estimate about $200.
Okay.
That's a guess.
But we are using that though, right? We did have that in the budget.
We're doing
and we-
Sherry's sick. Hopefully Sherry's healthy and we won't be doing
Right.
that.
Nothing against you, Karen.
So I
Call.
spent all those
Yeah.
on, yes.
Yeah, I was just curious about that. Okay.
With nothing to go into closed session, but I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yep, a second.
I make a motion. Yeah, a second.
A second.
Mm-hmm.